podcastjuice.net.
Crime. Let's get it together. Education. Let's get it together. Marriage. Let's get it together. Politics. Let's get it together. Full circle. Poverty. Let's get it together. Race. Let's get it together. Full circle. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Full Circle Podcast Show, episode number 49.
49. We are almost at 50. Can you believe it?
Almost. Wow. And what's interesting is I believe our 50th show will be our anniversary show.
Uh-oh. Hey. 2 years.
2 years. Time really flies. I am Darryl McCullough, the same poet, along with the songstress. I have missed you. I just want to pinch your dimples.
I'm happy to be back.
I haven't seen you in like 2 months.
That's not a thing. You saw me, and it's only been what? Maybe a couple weeks.
It feels like 2 months. It's like jail time without you.
Stop it. I enjoyed the last show. That was really cool. So Erica's off today.
Yep, Erica is off. I actually just had a meeting with her, but yeah, she has to do some training and teaching today.
All right.
So it is you and I back as we did back in the day.
She's fitness guruing, and we're going to get it moving. Let's get ready to have another fun and exciting show from the perspective of a liberal, conservative, and independent state of mind. Since we don't have an in-studio guest, today's topic was picked by our special call-in guest, Mark Collet, who's a British political activist and the author of The Fall of Western Man. With 8,000 subscribers on YouTube, he chose for us to discuss the topic, political correctness, for better or for worse. Mark will join us to discuss the topic a little later in the show. I can already tell it's going to be a hot one, so
yeah,
buckle up, Buttercup.
Wow. But we want to thank our everyone for listening and the shout outs and things like that. I'm going to get into a few things to let you know what those shout outs and sharing have done for us. We want to thank you for subscribing to our like page, our YouTube channel.
Nice.
And don't forget to check us out on the Podcast Juice Net. They have a lot of information for Prince fans, the Michael Dean Show, and the Prince Podcast.
Yes. And now that we're done with the National Podcast Power Conference, our gold sponsors that supported us, the slate is kind of reduced for sponsors from what I understand, but we do want to thank Toledo's own Three Kings,
absolutely,
an apparel company that supplies quality clothing with a connection to pop culture and current events. They have so many sweet outfits. I love Three Kings. Please visit them at www.threekingsclothing.com and find them on Facebook and like their page. I follow them on IG. It's pretty dope. Really
nice guys too. Very business minded. And that's going to be a surprise on our next show related to that.
Oh, okay.
Related to them.
Okay, we've got more slots for sponsors. So if you guys are interested, contact us at fullcirclepodcastshow@gmail.com. And that was the commercial. So we're gonna move right along. What's going on in the world?
Well, briefly talking about last podcast. Last podcast was the plight of being a step parent.
Yes.
This was a really good show. A lot of information, personal experiences. I got a little emotional,
yeah.
Dealing with the whole growing up as a stepchild. So it was a good episode. Gave a lot of information for people struggling in that with being a step parent. We are pretty close to 500 downloads, so
nice.
It's moving along.
Good.
If you didn't get a chance, please go back and check out that episode.
Yes. You know what? I did get a chance to see it, and you guys did an awesome job. I did think it was really poignant. I've never had the experience of a step family or anything like that, but I just thought that it was really interesting to hear people's points of view.
Well, Carmen, it's valid because of the fact that if the divorce rate is over 60% or pretty close to it, that means that when these people remarry, usually there's some children around.
Right. So the blended family becomes the norm.
Right. And what we learned is it's not always like the Brady Bunch. But it was some positive. It was a lot of positive.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. And that was good. That was really good.
Right. Now, let me see what else I want to speak about was that in relations to what people have done for us in the Full Circle Podcast Show.
So I'm understanding that things are coming along for us as the downloads, as the audio increases, that kind of thing.
This is going to sound negative, but I hope it ends positively.
Oh Lord.
As a podcaster, it is all about the audio downloads.
Right.
Okay?
Right. That's what we learned at the Podcast Power Conference.
Right. Now, I can't tell you how many times after we've done a show that I just wanted to get rid of the YouTube video. Okay.
No.
But there are certain people who love our video.
Well, that's
Hi,
because-
Mom.
Well, they can't see me rolling my eyes.
Oh, right. But it's like there's a small audience that we have. The YouTube has been it's not easy. And I'm going to say that for all podcasters who do video. YouTube is a difficult area to break into.
It's
now,
not easy for musicians either.
Wow. So what's going on is that we have been we qualify for monetization.
That's huge.
You got to have 10,000 views on YouTube. We have 16,000.
Nice. That is huge. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the videos, and tell your friends about them. And I promise I will. You know what it is? My face needs salvation. I can sound really positive.
Oh yeah.
But the way I look might portray a little something different.
So you know how we have goals that we set. So one of the goals is going to be able to work a little stronger on the YouTube.
Nice.
So we got things, and
And
we'll,
since it's monetized now, we can probably afford the wine.
well, here's the thing, Carmen. There's a lot of red tape, so I don't know if you're going to see anything change for maybe a little bit because they're the budgets and the balances.
Yeah. Or are you just trying to tell me I'm not gonna get paid for this?
I mean, I may come in with a new shirt and some new shoes.
He's saying I ain't gonna get no money. That's what that is.
No, it's me. I'm gonna spread the wealth, but we're gonna have a good time. Now, the other thing is. We also launched the Toledo Podcasting Meetup Group.
Yes.
And,
did nobody tell me that we were supposed to be meeting?
Well, we haven't met yet. It
Okay,
just started.
so you gonna include me?
Well, here's the thing. It's a lot of red tape.
Okay.
There's the budget
I just
and the
want to
balance.
let you know that I actually live here in Toledo.
Oh no,
so.
yeah, I wouldn't do it without you. and why do this? Because it's a great opportunity to meet podcasters in the Toledo area.
Yeah.
People who are curious, beginners, experienced, so we can meet
build,
up.
Build the network.
Right. And
Yeah.
then once we do the second annual Podcast Power Conference,
Absolutely.
we already have a core group.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Also, it's a medium that's up and coming here in the Toledo area, and there's a lot of things that can be explored. I just love the fact that we have, so many diverse kinds of podcasts. So,
Right. Okay. On a lighter note,
Lighter?
something happened to me before we start getting deep. Something happened to me.
What happened to you?
I went to the best chicken drive restaurant, which is Chick-fil-A.
I thought it was Popeyes.
Oh God, no.
What'd you say?
No. Chick-fil-A,
Chick-fil-A now?
it's a great company. Hi, how are you? May I have a name for the
went,
order?
You know what though? I do.
Have a blessed day.
I'm going to tell you something about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, they have the best attitudes for bland food.
How dare you? Now this is where this is where you're going to cross the line with us. After everything that's happening, this is where you and I are going to come to blows.
Their chicken is bland.
Why don't you go to Detroit and get you some lemon pepper chicken? Is that what you like? Was that what you like? Is
You
that
know
good?
what?
With all lemon pepper on the French fries, lemon pepper on the coleslaw.
Let me just say, seasoning could not hurt. Okay,
Well,
it couldn't hurt.
But
they're lovely people.
I'm in this drive-through and it is packed. This girl walks by, and she spit.
Say what?
This girl walks by, she stops, and she spits. I have never ever seen a woman spit.
What?
It was a loogie. It was.
No.
Do women don't spit, right?
Okay. No, the thought of a loogie, I'm good.
I couldn't believe it though. and it, so me, me, I was like, oh, I think I gasped.
Yeah.
And then she looked at me and then she kept walking. But I was like, I never seen that before. It was
Are
very
you
offensive.
sure it was a girl?
Yeah, it was a girl. It was a girl.
Okay.
I see, Toledo has a little Detroit in them.
Shut up.
I'm just telling you, that's where I was.
I don't walk around hawking loogies.
Well, okay.
Right?
Well, I'm just letting you know. Let's get into some politics. You got anything?
Oh, quite a bit. Here we go. Did you enjoy Indictment Monday?
Talk to me.
Okay, so Paul Manafort and Gates, his assistant during the campaign, have been indicted, and they're basically facing charges with their monetary connections to foreign nationals, which is basically tantamount to our favorite word, collusion. And this is the first couple of dominoes in the case that Mueller is building through the investigation of last year's campaign and the corruption they've been accused of at the beginning of this administration. You remember when Mike Flynn was let go, and the succession of people after him, all of which were in meetings, quote unquote, with Russians. At first, no one was in the meeting.
Right.
Then a couple were in the meeting. At last count, it was something like 8 or 9. I'm trying to figure out who wasn't in the meeting at this point.
Okay.
They're also looking at the reasoning behind changing the RNC platform last year at the convention, which was allegedly at the behest of the Trump campaign, to be more Russia friendly. So there are quite a few moving parts, and it is interesting to see this unfold. And it is like, pretty, it's getting pretty thick.
Wow. Well, thanks for that, because I've been kind of on the political side. It seemed to me that as of late, politics is related to sports. I was like, in the sports section is politics, and it's like, wow.
And that was a bit distracting. Okay, so you had all of the stuff that we talked about kneeling and the flag and all of this other stuff, and it seems that was a smoke screen leading up to the media issues of what was happening in the investigation. Also, another thing that we want to keep our eye on is the budget and the tax reform bills that have been on the floor right now being legislated. So those are things that you want to keep an eye on, just on a political front, so that, all the other noise that we hear you don't lose sight of those things.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
What, on dealing with the tragedy, what happened yesterday? Did you hear about that?
So we're dealing with another tragedy. There was a guy who ran into a group of 8 people, and he ran into a group of people in Manhattan, the World Trade Center site, and ran down some people. 8 were killed in that, what they're calling a terrorist attack. And here's where I have a little bit of trouble.
Talk to me.
We're preemptively calling this a terrorist attack because he allegedly yelled Allahu Akbar. And he was here on a quote unquote diversity visa, which meant that he is not illegal. He is actually here, with all the permissions of citizenry. So here's the thing. If we're going to call this a terror attack, why were we not calling Las Vegas a terror attack? And not to mention, there was another attack carried out about a week ago that wasn't in the news, and it was actually reported on by Salon.com, and I'm going to pull it up real quick. And they were curiously silent. The Trump administration was curiously silent on a attack last week in Virginia. So there is
I understand.
There's a bit of a double standard when it comes to the type of people that commit acts of terror. Okay?
Right. I guess the wording and things like that. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Now this person that committed this tragedy yesterday, if I understand correctly, he's still alive. They did not kill him.
No,
They shot
no.
him in the leg or something,
Correct.
right? Okay.
As is Michael Christopher Estes. He was a North Carolina man who is accused of planting a bomb in a North Carolina airport, preparing to take a flight, preparing to fight war on U.S. soil is what the story says earlier this month. And the president was silent on that. He also, on Friday, the 18th century theme park in Colonial Williamsburg, Stephen James Powers allegedly planted a bomb near his car, near the campus of William and Mary. And we're not seeing those kinds of things called terror. And it's generally because of the demographic of the kind of people that commit those crimes. When it is white crime, it is crime. When it is brown crime, it's terror. And that double standard is very, very dangerous, regardless of the motivation. It's very, very dangerous because
this lets me think about you have to be politically correct about how you word different things is that what you're saying? I mean,
well,
they're all bad.
And this is where we go down a slippery slope. And the labels matter. Labels matter, and it's not just a matter of political correctness, but what we call terror should be terror across the board. What we call crime should be crime across the board. When there's a motivation that is political, then you're looking at a terror incident, okay? And if you're talking about preparing to fight war on U.S. soil, that's a political crime. That is terror.
What bothers me, and of course, this is terrible, and I am, when we have these tragedies, we don't have a healing time. We don't even give ourselves a time to heal because we're moving on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we should still be focused on Vegas.
Right. And I feel you. I understand, and I agree with you on that, because here's the other thing. There's always a rush to convict motivation as opposed to investigating the entirety of the crime or entirety of the incident. Before the last person fell on the ground in Vegas, you've got fingers pointing, talking about gun control or anti-gun control. Before, the guy is even in the doggone, before the guy's in custody good, you've got people talking about, terror and close the borders. This is the, microwave, attention span generation. We want everything just like that.
Yeah, and I'll go over here with it like this. We have developed a mundane attitude towards tragedy. I think we're sad for 2 days.
We're inundated with it, though. We're
Yeah, okay.
inundated with
Yeah,
tragedy
yeah.
to the point where it has started to desensitize the general public.
very good
And
point.
we've
Very good point.
lost a level of apathy, compassion, and the ability to communicate because of it.
Okay. Wow. You got anything else you want to move into entertainment?
Yeah, you know what? Entertainment's been pretty interesting itself, but it's going to
I don't know if it's going to be fun, even though it says entertainment, but yeah.
Entertainment ain't
there's
always
some
fun,
sad
honey.
things.
Well, you know what? Before we get sad, we'll let everybody know that this segment is brought to you by Marmite Records, label produced and owned by Eric Sills of Stone Soup Recording Studio right here in Maumee, Ohio. So if any of you singers and musicians are looking to record in a world-class studio with the best of the best, I can say that because that's my honey.
Absolutely.
Visit stonesouprec.com or check them out on Facebook at the Stone Soup Recording Studios and like the page.
Wow. Now, Carmen, don't get me wrong on this entertainment section, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I want to apologize for these death notices because I personally thought that these people were dead a long time ago. And I'm sorry for saying that.
Are you for what?
I thought, someone die that's a celebrity and you're like, what? Oh, I thought he was dead years ago.
I have done that.
Two people, who we got here? Rock pioneer legend Fats Domino died.
I did think Fats Domino
Right.
was. I thought he was gone a long time ago. But you know what? Ain't God good? He gave him so many years.
Wow. You know, of course, we know who Fats Domino is. Oh, sold over 110 million records, hits Blueberry Hill,
Yes.
Ain't That a Shame.
Yes.
Somebody else who died,
Yes.
who I thought died a long time ago, Robert Guillaume.
Benson wasn't dead.
Benson's been dead for 5 years.
No.
I thought it was old news. I started to put on Facebook, this is old. This happened in
No.
2005.
No. He's
Okay.
been working.
I didn't know.
Are you kidding me?
I didn't know. So Robert Guillaume,
He did a lot of voice. He did a lot of voice work,
I
and I
love
think that
him.
that's why
And so-
because he was out of the limelight
Yeah.
doing voice work. It was a shock to me because that's part of my childhood.
Wow.
You know?
I loved so.
I loved him in his own sitcom as
he did Benson.
That was awesome.
And then you'll have to help me on this because you know what? I've never seen The Lion King. He was the voice of who?
Rafiki, the monkey Rafiki.
Rafiki.
Yes,
I'm going to have a baby, and that's a strong name. And call him Rafiki.
Simba.
Right. Wow. Now, what have I been doing since Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
You binge watched Stranger Things, I bet.
Absolutely.
I know you did. Don't tell me anything.
Oh my God, you're going to believe the
No,
butler did it. The
no,
butler,
no,
I can't.
No.
The butler did it.
I could not even sit still long enough to watch episode 1
Of the second season.
of the second season.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go over here.
Don't no spoilers.
no spoilers.
Please, no
Never,
spoilers.
Stranger Things season 2, I
Okay.
believe, is in the top 10 best series on Netflix.
Really?
Okay. Now, despite the potholes.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you, yeah, you
You know, and I'm hard
you've
on
given
stuff
me,
now.
No, but you've given me some good recommendations, and I'll give you that. Yes, you have.
There are some things in there. There's one character that is unbearable to watch.
Okay, don't.
Almost.
Yeah.
There was some the language, the foul language, I could have done without because I love.
But they're growing up, so I can give them that. They're growing.
I love the wholesomeness
but
of
they're-
Stranger Things.
Yeah, but the kids are getting like their preteens and
Yeah,
their teens,
yeah.
so they're getting there, you know.
They had some areas where I thought they made the fathers look like Stepford fathers.
What do you mean? What do you mean like
They're like robots. Every father that they show, well, you know, son, and so and so, so and so, so and so. It's like it's like a robot.
It was the 80s though. It was
Is parenting different in the 80s and the 70s?
It was because we had that was like Jason Seaver parenting. That was like Mr. Seavers.
I'm going to say something, and I'm going
like-
to ask that
and
you
like different
not
strokes,
hurt me.
And like different strokes, like Conrad Bain.
Wow,
being
yeah.
Dad.
Don't hurt me,
What?
Carmen. But the thing about the 80s is the music sucked. Other than Duran.
Shut up! The music was
Oh.
amazing. Are you freaking kidding me?
If they would have done Stranger Things like in
I
the
like to-
70s,
No,
you
I
know
hate-
the 70s
I
music
hate
was
you.
better than the
I
80s.
hate you. The 80s.
I
80s
apologize ahead of time.
80s rock.
With all due respect.
I love you. Can't.
Can I say that?
No, you can't say with all due respect and then like disrespect somebody that's messed up.
Well,
That,
okay.
that doesn't make it. That doesn't fix it.
Well, you know, I think that you will enjoy Stranger Things. I do not do sci-fi. I don't do zombies.
I know you don't.
I don't do any
so
of that
I'm
stuff.
really impressed that you like it. So yeah,
But
I am.
and there are no
impressed that you
zombies
like it.
in Stranger Things, but they do. It's the sci-fi thing.
Okay,
but
so,
I enjoyed
yeah.
it. Now,
Yeah.
they did the old typical political correctness of interracial
Don't-
love.
See, you know what? You're not supposed to do this. You make spoilers.
It's not a spoiler. You know what's going to happen. Every show has it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Every show. Now, what else? With all fairness,
I promise I can't.
I'm
What?
going to say on a scale from 1 to 10, I give Stranger Things season 2 an 8.7.
That's huge for you. That's up there for you. You don't usually give out numbers higher than 7. So yeah.
But
No,
despite the issues, I enjoyed
That's
it.
cool. Okay.
I enjoyed it, and the cinematography is awesome.
Yeah.
The music you're gonna love.
I'm gonna love the music.
I
love
hated
the 80s.
it.
The 80s. Can I just okay? The 80s. We had everything. We had Whitney. We had pre-crack Whitney. We had Pat Benatar at her vocal best. I mean,
You're talking about the
we had-
well-known people. There
we
were a
had-
lot of people in the 80s that they were
we
like,
had White Snake. We had, I mean, DeBarge. We had. Oh my God, the 80s had everything.
I'm talking more about the pop area, like
Hall and Oates and what are you talking about? Like Flock of Seagulls and
I'll
We
go
had-
with that.
We had Human League. We had.
Don't say anything about Human League.
I love him.
I like Human League, actually.
I told you. We had
Okay.
Tommy Two-Tone.
I mean, but none of those are featured in the soundtrack for Stranger Things season 2.
Okay.
But you're still gonna love it.
Okay.
I got something. And
What's up?
Do you watch Blackish?
I love Blackish. That's the show.
Do you? I'm afraid. Do you think
Here
that?
we go.
Do you think that Blackish is getting a little too black? Have you seen the last few episodes?
Here we go. Here we go.
It's getting.
I knew you would say something. But you know what? That's great television because it's the TV that makes you think, and it's the TV that I'll be honest with you. A lot of people, without getting this kind of information through their entertainment, they would never know about the kinds of things that are being talked about on a show like Blackish.
I'm gonna walk you down a road.
Oh God,
Okay.
Here we go.
Arsenio Hall had a good show.
I don't want to go down
But-
this road with you.
Arsenio Hall had Louis Farrakhan on his show, and you know what? Then he
What?
was canceled.
He didn't get canceled right
But-
when Louis
but I
Farrakhan was
think
on
he
there.
knew
That's
that it was
not-
coming, so he was like, well, I'm gonna do this and do what I wanna do.
That's not what happened.
With that being said,
That's so not what happened.
what is Blackish doing? They're getting. I mean, they're
Can I
doing
t- no,
some
but I'm-
black stuff.
Yeah, and as well they
And
should
Black Monopoly.
be. Look, but that's the beauty of the show.
And then you know what else
And
they did? They
I'm
brought
gonna
a
tell
baby on the show, Carmen.
Dude.
That is the kiss of
No.
death.
And I'm going to tell you why this is genius because ABC has a racial agenda. And if you notice, the
Oh
show
my
is like
God.
fresh off the boat. They featuring, that family. the
Oh, you
Asian-
know what? I'm not going to disagree with you.
No, but I'm saying they do. What's the
It's
one?
another Asian
what's the
show coming
Irish,
out.
What's the Irish show? Oh God, Goldbergs. They've got that show. They have a decent variety, but the beautiful thing that they do is they let people be themselves in a comedy construct, and it's not formulaic to the point where you're just avoiding the joke. That's where this conversation is important.
What
In
I
terms of-
love about Blackish is the when they're at work.
Yeah.
When they're talking with his white boss, and
Yeah,
that is
because-
hilarious.
But because you've had those conversations and you've been in that room, you know what I mean? It's not caricatured to the point where you're avoiding the joke. One of the things that I will say as we get into our conversation about political correctness is that we can't become so uptight about the oohs and ahs of the stereotype that we avoid, poking fun at funny shit. I'm sorry.
But that's the problem. Because of political correctness, you're almost careful about what you laugh at, and they're only going to go so far. Even though Blackish, I feel, has.
I think they're doing great.
Yeah.
They're doing great work.
I even like your girl, who normally I have a problem with, Wanda Sykes. Even she's funny.
God.
Any woman who wears dingo boots, I got a problem
Would you
with.
just stop?
But she's funny. So I just hope that they're.
I don't think they're toeing the line. I think that they're going right at it and they're doing it the right way. It's very smart. It's very calculated, and it's disarming. It's not offensive. It's very disarming. And I think that there's people across the board that really relate.
Now I'm going to say something else, and this
What's
was
up?
not on my outline.
What's up?
They focus on. Oh man, her name. We're Facebook friends. We're Instagram friends. His wife, Ross.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
She has a little body on her, okay? But they don't show that on that show. They want her in that wholesome mother box, and I respect that. I'm cool with that because
You just want to see her booty.
no, don't.
Yes, you
don't-
do.
don't-
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You can show but
She do
notice,
got a big old booty.
They don't show that.
She got
they're
a big
keeping
old
her
booty.
in that Claire Huxtable
but that is
box,
by
and that's fine.
But that's by design.
And their daughter, she's going to do her own show.
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think that it can only add to, some really good TV.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what's going on with all this? Somebody said, okay, who are your favorite actors? And I went through this and this and this and that. And I said, okay, and so and so, so and so. I like William H. Macy. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Spacey. He's in my list, the top three.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Now I guess I got to take him off my list.
No, he's still a great actor. He's just a big old giant freak too. Apparently, he, along with, okay, let's go back. So there's the big stink about Harvey Weinstein, who is the biggest creep in Hollywood, apparently, but not so much because he's joined by a whole bunch of other creeps. The culture of hedonism throughout the years in Hollyweird has made it very, very apparent that perversion is prevalent. So we're looking at Harvey Weinstein asking to shower with chicks and get naked in their hotel rooms, and Andy Dick and all of his extra freakiness, Kevin Spacey hunching on little boys and in the 80s. And then
why is that coming up 30 years?
Well, here's the thing. So we've got the culture of I've been sexually harassed. And I want to give, and y'all gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna give a shout out to Bill Cosby because he got put through the ringer. He was the pioneer of sexual harassment.
Wow.
Not to excuse it, but you know what? He wasn't by himself. And when the pile-on was going on, I didn't hear any of these voices coming to his defense. So now, the newest one today, Dustin Hoffman.
Another one?
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman has been outed today as a big old freak.
I didn't know that.
So you've got all these guys in the big Hollywood patriarchy who have been either harassing or sexually abusing people under them, whose careers depend on entree into Hollywood society. And these are the biggest names in Hollywood. Now, I will give you a side note. For years, Corey Feldman
I heard
has
about
been
a little bit
blowing the
about this.
whistle about perversion in Hollywood, and especially with an especial focus on pedophilia, and a lot of his problems with drugs and mental issues and things like that have come.
See, now that you've lost your credibility.
No. Exactly. Have come out of dealing with the aftermath of having been abused in that way. So he says this is his allegation. And for the longest time, he was written off as crazy, quote unquote. But now that people are coming out with these stories, and the thing about it is, with Kevin Spacey in particular, he did not deny the allegation of dry humping a 14-year-old. He didn't deny it. He claimed he might have been drunk and didn't remember it. So apparently that's what you did in the 80s, is you went around dry humping kids. So, as one does. But that's where we are right now. They wrote him off as crazy. They prosecuted Michael Jackson, who, come to find out, according to Feldman, provided a haven for children and was not a predator, okay? But they vilified him in the press for that because he also was a whistleblower. If you'll remember, years back, Michael Jackson, when he was leaving his label, he started blowing the whistle on actions like that. And then they turned it around and made it an allegation against him.
Well, if anybody was a freak, it's your boy, Michael Jackson.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Well, I just know that somewhere Bill Cosby is sitting with a Jell-O pudding pop watching all this go down.
like what your husband said, he's pointing. He's doing the point. He's doing the point. Well, now that I got you smiling, guess what? I got a national holiday.
What's the holiday?
This is going to be offensive. It's going to be a little racial.
Oh, here we go. You know what? If it's not real, just don't.
It is real. This is right off the National Holiday website.
That's not a thing.
This is so true.
What nation? It's not ours.
It is so popular. They're getting T-shirts out.
I don't think that's a thing.
Oh,
okay, so what? What is it? I know. You know what? Hashtag, I don't think that's a thing, okay? Because I say that to him all the time.
It's wintertime now, okay?
Yeah.
So today's national holiday is White People Stop Wearing Shorts Day. I support this. It is winter.
It is fall,
Stop it.
and you are wrong. That's
No,
dead.
stop it. You know what bothers
You're
me?
dead wrong. That's not cool.
You know, because I'm coming in, I got
That
my
is
jeans
so
on, I
not-
got my long sleeve shirt
That's not
tucked
cool.
in, and
That's not cool.
here's a white guy. He's got on shorts and a North Face coat.
You leave North Face alone. We already talked about that.
I'd stop wearing North Face.
Would you just stop? Stop talking.
Black
about
people, you don't know nothing about the North. You don't do
my
any.
God.
You don't love like the cold. Leave that fashion alone. Shut up. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You know what? You're quickly becoming the fashion police. That's not sweet.
You know, I always wonder, like, when you're in an interracial relationship, who controls the thermostat?
Shut up.
White
That's not.
people,
No.
all my white friends.
Eric, get him.
All my white friends, I go to their house.
No.
It is like, oh, I got the thermostat right at 62. I'm like, 62? It doesn't even, why do you have it on?
God.
Why do you have it on? You go to a black person's house, 72.
No, it's like the heat on hell. No. My husband loves the cold, by the way. So that just blows your theory. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But
What?
I don't want anything cold.
Yeah, but if the house is, he said if the house is cold, chicks want to get snuggly.
No,
But if it's hot, they take their clothes off. So then, it's win-win, whichever.
And I don't like to sweat either.
Oh my God, here we go.
So we're laughing. Everything is fun. We got a caller on, but let's do our little our intro to get into our topic.
Well, let's do that.
Political correctness for better or for worse. You ready?
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, how are you? We're just going to get into this subject, and then I'm going to introduce you, okay?
Alrighty.
Okay. Thank you.
Political correctness. Carmen, you know I love this because
We've talked about this a lot.
Political correctness has sugar-coated.
No,
Now, you say that it's manners.
We used to call political correctness manners or decorum or having common decency. That's what it used to be called before this title made it into a hot button issue. Okay. It used to be that if you didn't have something nice to say, what your mama say, don't say it. There's just certain things that don't belong in the public domain, especially when it comes to being vicious or venomous for no good reason. We've become a very callous society.
I agree. But however, to me, political correctness is a wino in a three-piece suit. Okay. Meaning that.
What do you mean?
Meaning that.
What the hell does that mean?
Meaning that just because it looks good doesn't mean that he's good. He's still a wino. He just looks nice. He's just dressed nice.
Okay, so here's what. Okay, so I come from a long line of genteel Southern women. And with every insult, thought, okay, there was a bless your heart. You know what I'm talking about? You don't have to say everything that comes to mind. You can think it without having to express it to the person to the point where you just being nasty for no reason.
What I remember this quote from Malcolm X of all people.
What's that?
That said, I have more respect for a man who tells me where he stands right up front versus one who comes across as an angel but is nothing but a devil in disguise.
And you can do that as well.
I think I heard it on a rap song from the 80s.
Oh my God.
Shout out to X-Clan.
You don't listen to X. You ain't never listened to X-Clan in your whole life. You don't even know who Brother J is.
I get jiggy with it.
What's a grand verbalizer?
What time is it? Excuse me.
Okay, I'm gonna give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay.
So we have a caller on. Pamela Walker, are you there?
Hi, Pam. How are you?
Yeah. Fine. How are you?
Excellent.
She is a good friend. She's got a great personality, great opinion.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And as you know, we're talking about political correctness for better or for worse. I do not share Darryl's notion that everyone should say every venomous thing that they think or that they should treat people without the kindness of manners. Tell me, what does political correctness mean to you and how would you define it?
Well, political correctness actually means to me like being unbiased, neutral, unoffensive, and, unpartisan.
Okay.
To me, yeah.
Now,
But go ahead.
now I was going to ask you, how did you come to that understanding of what political correctness is?
Well, through time, like I agree with what you said. If you don't agree with somebody, it's better keep your mouth shut most of the time if you don't have anything nice to say. But for the most part, really looking at it, nobody's really politically correct.
Right.
In America, nobody's doing. Not even your president is doing it now.
Oh,
come
God.
on.
He's not even. He don't have an ounce of decorum, honey.
It's just more of a term, a slap on the wrist, kind of, or just a pacifier to me.
So, okay.
It's just
so when you talk about trying to be or appear unbiased, does that make us better, or have we become better at it, or are we worse at it? What are we doing right now?
Well, right now, we're not better at anything right now.
But if the political correctness is there and it's and all this diversity and everything else, we should be perfect. We should be great right now.
Those are separate issues.
It's making us worse.
Political correctness.
I believe that too. Because it's more like that theory. Let's just all get along kind of theory. But we're never discussing the issue of why we're not getting along in the first place. What you're actually doing is just putting a Band-Aid on the real issue, just by pretending that we're all just getting along or we're all just friends.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I heard this in the street the other day. Preach.
He ain't
Preach. Preach, Pam.
I don't know what street he's on.
Right. Yeah, me neither. But you're playing games with the real issues.
Okay.
And right now you're just when you talk about diversity and when you're talking about the media is being politically correct, the media is most biased. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Everybody that's telling you to be politically correct is not even correct. Everybody is bipartisan. You got your political pundits from Democrat and Republican. Yeah. You got a bunch of gangs going. To me, they're all gangs.
Well,
from the police to everybody is all one big gang.
So do you feel that, for example, the media or larger society, do you feel like it's being shoved down our throat that we should pretend that we're getting along, that political correctness is the goal?
Well, it's more like it's being shoved down your throat to pretend that you're getting along. That's the new racism code. The new racism code of conduct is to pretend that no one's racist. Until Donald Trump got elected, 45, then now all the racism is coming out the bag. But when President Obama was in office, the new racism code was to not be nobody's racist.
Well,
I'm going to have to say Deneno on that. Here's the thing.
What's Deneno? No.
I heard that. I saw that on a show.
The myth of it, the myth of all of that is that, somehow by electing a half black president, that all of a sudden we were a post-racial society, because what people wanted to believe is that his skin color had nothing to do with his qualification to be president. And that's what everyone told themselves when they sang Kumbaya and elected Barack Obama, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, as he, went through his terms, I want to let Darryl know he had two of those. There were two terms.
I'm biting my tongue. Go on.
Okay, so as he went through his terms, there was a lot of visceral hatred when he actually did stand up for issues for people of color.
I don't think he stood up for anything.
Oh my God!
For black people.
Okay, so initially,
President Obama did not stand up for anything. There's
God.
no legislature on the books for black people. He created legislation for Latinos. He created legislature, and I was part of his grassroots organizing for him as a senator.
Okay.
He created legislature for gays. He is the president of the gays. He did nothing for black people.
Okay, so let me ask you this: was he supposed to?
Yes, he did something for everybody. He's the president elected by all the people.
Wait. Why was he supposed to if he wasn't lobbied to do so? Did we lobby him to do so?
Barack Obama did not give black people any fries.
And
I've said it before. He should have gave us the hookup.
Oh my God! In what ways?
Well, not just the hookup, but there should have been. It was more black men killed under murders by police.
That's not true.
Under President
that's not
Obama.
True. I'm going to tell you that's not true. I'm going to go to the FBI statistics and tell you that's not true. That's absolutely
go to the FBI statistics.
Now I'm going to go over here. Okay, I'm going to go. The reason why, I've said it a million times, the reason why you had a Barack Obama was because you had a George Bush, and the reason why you have a Donald Trump is because you had a Barack Obama. Okay, now What happened was this whole political correctness has forced people into the closet to be quiet. And those quiet, silent people became the silent majority, and those people voted.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to go here. I'm going to talk to you about silence. There was a woman, I was kind of dating this girl, and I didn't know how to tell her that I wasn't interested. And this older lady said, have you told her? And I was like, no. She said, Darryl, by you being quiet, she thinks that you're in agreement. You have to voice your opinion and say, no.
That's where I have an issue with the Barack Obama didn't do anything, quote unquote, for black people. I have an issue with that because here's the thing. The conversation itself initially started with Professor Gates being arrested on his doorstep. When Barack Obama...
I don't like him. Go on.
When Barack Obama stuck his neck out to address...
I like it.
To address crime, the criminality assumption by race, he was automatically lumped into being against cops. Am I right or wrong?
That is true.
Okay, so that became the conversation about criminality and race. That became the conversation about why are black people scrutinized more closely by the police than, the larger society. And then you had the beer summit and everybody hoped that it would be swept under the rug until Trayvon Martin was killed.
I don't have a problem with the first 4-year Barack Obama. I have the second term.
So why he's
okay?
Well, he can become a different president.
That's not the beginning.
Okay.
President Obama, I will agree that President Obama had created conversation.
Okay.
My thing is legislature and enforcing legislature for black people.
But the accountability becomes on us too, because here's the thing: we didn't vote in the midterm primary to give him anybody to work with to bring that legislation to his desk. We didn't do that.
I disagree.
Who brought it to his desk?
I'm gonna go back to you saying, if that's the case, then how come the Latino community,
because
he made sure.
Let me explain something to you.
I was grassroots. Black people were out there canvassing.
I get that, and we got him elected. We got him elected. But what you need to know is that the Latino community is largely, especially in those of Cuban descent, the Latino community is largely Republican. So when they voted for people who they voted their own interests. So they sent people to the legislature who they made sure would put that DREAM Act on his desk. The president can only sign what comes to his desk. Do you understand?
I disagree.
We didn't show up in the midterm. We didn't show up in the midterm.
That's the stigma that I believe that black people keep putting on each other. If you show up and vote, if you show out and vote, we have that National Black Caucus up there. We have a lot of grassroots organizations and lobbyists for our own. Now we can do better and to push more so our own people. But however, when our people get elected, they are the black people that we do elect. Once they get to where they're supposed to be at or get in that hot seat, then now they want to be the person for everybody.
No, that's the
problem.
president. That's the president. That's the office of the president. That's the job.
That's our governors. That's our senators. That's everybody. Want to be politically correct and want to be the people for everybody instead of just making sure the black community is due diligence.
But what I'm telling you is this. What I'm telling you is this politically in terms of how government works, okay? When you strategically only vote in the large elections that put a president in office, when you only vote to put a president in office and you don't give him a legislature that is an activist legislature for your interest, you open the door to exactly what happened. He became a lame duck in terms of legislation in his second term because he didn't have a squad.
Oh, he did some stuff. He just didn't do it for us.
Oh my God! Here we go. And they brought their people brought it to his desk. Okay,
we're gonna have to move to the next caller. But Pam, I'm gonna say this. I wouldn't, as my grandmother used to say, I wouldn't see Barack Obama if he was across the street. Okay?
Exactly.
Now,
exactly.
thank you so much for calling. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?
I'm a stand for Obama. Y'all, man.
You sit down for me, baby.
You have a great night.
Good.
You too. Bye.
Thank you so much.
We got another caller on. Caller, you there?
Yes, sir.
How are you? What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Great. My name is Andre Batts, calling from Detroit.
Hey, Andre.
I got some
Hi.
background on Andre. Andre is a freelance comic book artist. He's the owner and operator for the Motor City Black Age Comics.
Sweet.
Andre, briefly tell me about yourself, man, and what you've been doing.
Basically, I'm the owner, operator of the Urban Style Comics, which is, I create my own superhero universe as well as anti-hero type characters that I've been doing now since 1996. I started my own convention circuit in 2009, Motor City Black Age of Comics. And as a matter of fact, I have a show coming up in 2 weeks, I think November the 18th, where I'm bringing in, a heavy hitter, Larry Strowman. And I'm looking forward to having this event. It takes place at Wayne State University. And it seems like it's going to be a pretty big crowd coming out this year.
That's what's up. So what got you into, I'm sorry, I know we're about to talk about political correctness. I want to hear more about
because
that.
I got something that is not on the outline that he can answer. Now, no, what
got you into creating a convention circuit, getting on the convention circuit?
Well, actually, we already had a circuit out there that was started back in '93 by Churchill only, called the Black Age of Comics in Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
And then they picked it up in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia had reached out to me because I was doing their show, and they reached out to me and another brother named Joseph Wheeler down in Atlanta. He has a show called Onyx Con.
Oh,
and in Philadelphia, their show is called the East Coast Black Age of Comics. So I decided to jump on board with it because it was something that we needed to showcase, more black talent out there, or African talent, whatever you want to call yourself, melanated conferences as relates to comics.
Now, briefly, he is friends with your boy, Amani.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And actually, I'll probably see them because I'm going to come to this event. Now, before we get into our topic, Andre asked me this: why is it important for Black comics for young people? Why do you feel that this is needed for?
Well, I feel it's important due to the fact that we still don't have any of our stories. Whether it's in comic book format or whether it's, in novel, graphic novel, or the lecture circuit, we still don't have enough information out there as it relates to us. And as far as comic books are concerned, you still have us looking at these superheroes that's been created by mainstream for years. We're still looking at them as being our idols, as opposed to looking at self or whatever. And we create these characters just so more of us can have more to look at as it relates to us, and let them know that we're out here doing it too. And it's not just about, Black Panther or whatever, which is cool. I like Black Panther, but you already know that Black Panther was done by Marvel Comics, which is a white company.
Right.
So therefore, we had to create more images that look like us, people of color.
I'm still going to wear my dashiki to the movies.
Well, I love what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm wearing mine too.
You got two nerds here,
yes,
comic book fans. So we love it. Now, based on our topic, political correctness, for better or for worse, how do you define political correctness? Speak to me about your feelings on political correctness?
Well, I never really delve into politics too much because politics in general is just crooked, no matter what aspect to look at, as far as politically correct or incorrect. Because I think it's a thin line between both of them. Now, that's just the way I feel.
See, when we go to the comics and stuff like that, it is politically correct now.
Why? What are you talking about? You about to do the whole interracial thing?
No, I'm talking about it is politically correct to be extremely diverse, and that's fine. I get it. Okay. I'm like I said, I'm a comic book head. Okay, Carmen.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Carmen. I hate to pull this knife out, this ace, but we both love Captain America. But when I told you that they were changing Captain America black, You almost set the studio on fire. Okay.
Rightfully so. For several reasons.
Bruh, I understand
Steve
that you
Rogers
need
is
to
Captain
bring black
America.
people in there and Chinese people. I understand that. But why do I respect Luke Cage? Luke Cage always been black. Black Panther always been black. But when you change,
I don't think that's
when you change Superman to Chinese,
Oh God, here we go.
I don't know.
Superman's British.
You're gonna have some backlash.
Right.
Did you see Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Yes, but you have to think though. If you were to change Superman like that, that's like an icon.
It's iconic.
You know, in the world. Period. Captain America is not necessarily an icon for the world.
Are you kidding me?
Steve
I don't think
Captain
he is.
America.
Joe the plumber. Remember Joe the plumber?
Oh Jesus! Can we not?
Idolized. I used to work next to him.
Can we just
idolized Captain America?
we
I wish
freaking
I
not?
was there to see
we
when he
not?
found out that Captain America.
Oh, you
was
know
not
what?
black.
I will give you that.
He
I
would,
wish
he would ignite.
I would.
Remember the Dave Chappelle?
Yes.
Shine the light. Remember that?
He would
And he exploded.
He would have spontaneously combusted. Yes, he would. Okay, so what what we're dealing with in terms of political correctness. Let's go there since we're dealing with this. Do you think that incorporating more diversity into let's say mainstream culture is a bad thing? Do you think that it has diminished the storylines when it comes to comics or whatever when we're talking about making them more diverse?
Well, I think when you're making them diverse, you need to create characters from scratch. I don't feel that making them diverse by replacing, Captain America with the black guy. That's going to make it diverse.
I agree with that.
I do, because I think our stories need to be organic.
Right. That's the way I feel, because, these stories that's already out there, you're not doing anything but pissing off people that's been following, say, Superman forever. You're pissing people off like me, because I'm like, I've been reading comics forever. Why are they changing these people?
Right.
Just create something, like you say, make it more organic from scratch, and then, show
My
us
son
that
is
you're
actually
really
drawing a
out there trying to
comic.
do that.
I'm gonna put this out here. My son is actually drawing a comic.
Okay.
It's based on my life story. It's gonna be called Cashmere Wilson, Crusader of the Ghetto.
Wow.
No, I'm just playing. That's not what it's gonna be called. But he is an up and coming illustrator. So yeah.
I mean, I love all that.
We still up to the Motor City Black Age of Comics.
I promise I will.
Wow. Now, we're going to have to move to the other caller, but I don't know. I really appreciate your opinion. I appreciate what you're doing. Can you please tell people what's your event again and how they can get in contact with you?
Yes. Give them your information.
Okay, my event is the Motor City Black Age of Comics Convention. It will be held at Wayne State University. That's November the 18th. We also have a book signing event with Larry Stroman, November the 17th at Green Brain Comics in Dearborn, right off Michigan Avenue.
You know what?
The main event.
I know where that's at.
Repeat that again?
I said I know where that's at.
Okay. And you can contact me at urbanstylecomics.com.
Bet.
And it will have whatever information is needed.
I really appreciate you calling in. I will see you soon. I'll be at that event. My son and I, my daughter as well, because she's turned into a comic book head. So we're gonna enjoy it. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
You have an
it.
awesome night.
All right. Thanks, you too. Thanks again.
All right.
I keep saying I'm gonna stop saying awesome. I got to stop saying awesome.
Is that your word?
You got to be cautious with black guys that use the word awesome too much.
Why?
That's awesome.
No,
Awesome.
I do awesome, and I do absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, I say.
And you know what else I'm gonna work on? I'm gonna be this guy. I want to stop. I want to say
By the
either.
way,
I want to say either. I don't
Hold
want to
up.
say either anymore.
hold up. I just want to.
I'm gonna be that
For
guy.
the sake of clarity, violent crime rate went down 16% under President Obama.
Oh man, you're back on that.
I'm just putting it out there because I don't want anybody to get bad information.
Well, okay. I wouldn't see Barack Obama if he was in that
You know
in that
what?
studio.
You know what? That's because you couldn't see him. He'd be shining too much. That's okay.
Well, no, you know
That's
me.
okay.
I would be like, hey. No.
You're like,
Okay.
hey, Obama.
we got a caller on there. Caller, you there?
I am here. Hello. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is John Cross, and I'm calling in from New York City.
Hi, John. How are you? Thank you for calling.
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're
Excellent.
great, John. I got some background on John. John is a movie freak, and
Nice.
he manages the after movie dinner. Is that correct?
It's After
After Movie
Diner.
Diner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm hungry.
After
I'm hungry. The After
It's
Movie
all good.
Diner.
We're all after. Yes.
So
It's
tell
a-
us
it's a
about it.
website all
Tell us a little about
it's
it.
It's a website all about movies. It's sort of by fans for fans.
Nice.
We have podcasts and reviews and interviews and articles, and it's not the sort of regular stuff that you'll find sort of on comingsoon.net or
Great.
Collider or whatever. They seem to have that all nicely tied up. So we try and look at the stuff that I feel that fans are more excited, interested in. I would like people to come to our site and see, oh my goodness, they reviewed this crazy movie that I thought no one else had ever heard of. I'd rather that experience
Sweet.
than, oh look, someone's written about Thor Ragnarok for the 500th time.
So best kept secret of 2017 so far. What movie?
Oh, best kept secret of 2017. What movie? Oh, that you put me on the spot. I didn't know I was going to get movie questions. Okay, I'm going to have to think about that and maybe tell you at the end of the call.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so we're talking about political correctness. And
Yeah.
we've talked to a couple of people. What do you think political correctness is? And how has it affected you here lately as far as what's been going on in current climate?
Okay, so I gave this a bit of thought. I think that political correctness at its best or in its best intention is essentially regulation. So the way I kind of look at it a little bit is sort of like the environmental issue, which is, we all want great trade. We want companies to be able to produce things cheaper and quicker and better and so on and so forth. But we also want to protect the environment so they don't pollute rivers and, cut down too many trees and et cetera, right? So it's a bit like that with political correctness for me. Freedom of speech is a fantastic idea, should never be touched, completely 100% behind it. But obviously we now live in a time that is a lot different, and a lot of people have, whether it's interest or sensitivities, or whether it's a request to be treated more politely or to be spoken to using terms that they accept or terms that they're more comfortable with, right? So at its best, political correctness to me is trying to make a better, more polite society where people feel freer and more open to exist and do what they want to do with all the
A
things that they
level
want
of
to do.
respectfulness, right?
A level of respect, right. Now, at its worst end, like all regulation, there is always an extreme on both ends. At the other end, it is censorship, and it is often complying with sort of an overly sensitive nature. I wrestle all the time with, on one hand, political correctness being a decent thing, a respectful thing, and on the other hand, a lot of people just saying, well, I'm offended by stuff just because they can say it.
And we've gone there, haven't we? Haven't we gone there
Right.
to that place where, we're even afraid of humor. We're afraid of being free in terms of how we communicate, historically. Some people may have grown up in an area where it's okay to say a certain kind of thing, and then you, out in the larger society, you encounter people who are offended by that,
Definitely. No, one of the things I come up against all the time, because I like to do sort of comedy on my shows, and I've written comedy in the past and things like that, is this, on one hand, you hear a lot of people say, well, I just want to be able to say this. And what they mean is they want to be able to kind of say those derogatory terms they've been used to saying. And that's not necessarily a place we want to be in. But at the
without
same
the
time,
consequence.
Right, without the consequence. So it all comes down to, what's the word I'm looking for? It all comes down to, of course I'm losing my words now, but it comes down to sort of situational where that's being used. So if a stand-up comedian uses it, if a comedian is using it, writing about it, there is no comedy without conflict. There is no comedy without negativity. Every joke, no matter how inclusive, is poking fun at something or somebody. That's just the way it is. So everything comes down to context, essentially. So, on one hand, we shouldn't be letting people say racial slurs or say derogatory terms towards the trans community or towards the gay community or whatever it is, whatever people are finding derogatory. But at the same time, that shouldn't just be carte blanche to people just because of freedom of speech.
Right.
But on the other hand, people should be able to make fun of each other because
Right.
the world has got way too serious. People are offended by way too many things. And the only way we're going to get through this, the only way we're going to get through the conflict and the wars and the issue with race and the issue with gender and all those other things, the only way you can get through it really is with humor. And what the world has lost is a big dose of silly, and people need to be a lot more silly and stop being so uptight, I think.
You know what I think?
But that doesn't mean people should be able to just go around being mean to each other, right?
Yeah, I think that what we've lost, even in the aspect of comedy, is so much of what it has come down to is in a mean spirit. It's a lot of the comedy has been lately, as of late, especially the stuff that is offensive, has been about not including people, but fun for the sake of harming them or making them look bad, and that's not the same thing as making light of a situation. So there is a place where we've lost our sense of humor.
Right. For example, I can make a joke on my Facebook page about cyclists because anyone who's ever been to New York City knows that cyclists are an absolute bane of our existence, especially communities. And I can make a joke about cyclists, and I will get reactions as if cyclists are some sort of minority or some sort of protected section of the public. And I'm like, hang on a second, I understand. Like, and I have other friends who go, well, wait a minute, you don't like the fact that I cycle for my health, or I cycle to get to work, or I save money, or you would be angry if my children were cycling. And I was like, hang on a second, this isn't a personal thing. And that's the other thing we have to take out of stuff is we really need to kind of take the personal out of things. Like, a lot of people read a joke and then they kind of go, well, hang on a second, is that about me? Because
that's another thing, with this age of being online and social media, people do take things way more personally because they can touch them so much easier. It becomes like, if you're talking about it, let's say in generalizations, people can begin to take that stuff to heart because, that generalization, they feel like a representation of it, Back in the day.
I also think it's...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, I also think it's to do with, because social media is largely typed and largely read, I think the kind of tone of voice and personality gets taken out of it.
It's lost in the translation.
Definitely. And so if you knew me personally and we were hanging out at over dinner or something and I made some wisecrack about, I don't know, cyclists or vegans or something, then you would think it was fine and we would all be having a laugh and you could take the piss out of my beard or my accent or my teeth or whatever you wanted to take the piss out, and it would be absolutely fine. But if I write it as a tweet or as a Facebook update or something like that, then people are just going to read it in whatever tone of voice they want to read it in.
Or in their own mood.
Right,
they translate it to their own mood. You know what I mean? So that's exactly right. You lose the translation of it. So, yeah. But the other thing, when we're talking about political correctness, and you can, correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree. We're talking about political correctness. Back in the day, it used to be what we refer to as manners or decorum. I think that has been twisted into somehow being about censorship, where it used to be a level of respectfulness as far as making sure that even in your communications, when you disagree civilly.
Completely 100%. I definitely agree with that. And it's interesting because I try not to fall too much into the trap of, well, we used to have this and we used to tell this and now it doesn't exist anymore. I'm very happy to report that I have lots of sort of nieces, nephews, but also friends who have children and stuff like that. And I see a lot of those things that we were raised with and our parents were raised with still in existence.
Awesome.
I still see polite, well-mannered, well-behaved children.
Right? That's good stuff.
It's fantastic. And so therefore, I think that's the other thing is that the media, and, I don't want to be one of those people necessarily, but like the media does paint everything as relentlessly negative and relentlessly, divisive.
Yeah.
And I blame certainly for the situation, the UK is in with Brexit and America is in right now with the Trump administration and various other things.
Baby.
A lot of that I do blame put squarely on the media's shoulders because they've stopped. It's not about, here's relentless negativity and then here's a water skating squirrel or something. Here's like the light story at the end of the news. The news should report the news factually, and so often it's now become about opinion, and therefore they rile us all up into this negative
We're frothing at the mouth
atmosphere.
about nothing. We're frothing at the mouth about absolutely nothing. I mean, the most blown out of proportion things that used to not even become news now is like factions. People go into factions over every single issue. If you want, I mean.
Well, I'm sorry, John. I apologize. I've been looking forward to speaking with you, and we have an international caller coming up, and we had some technical difficulties. So I apologize. But I'm sure that Carmen, she's agreeing too much, so I guess there's no conflict.
We've been keeping each other entertained. We're having what's called a conversation. I don't know if you know about those.
Well,
it's all good. No, I mean other opinions are available. I try not to consider myself either left or right. I try and consider myself somewhere in the middle and someone who's a little more reasonable and stepping back from the noise.
Well, John, I've been enjoying you. I really have been enjoying you. And what I want people to know is where they can find you online and find out more about what you do.
All right, excellent. Well, look, if anyone's interested in either movies and or free speech to tie it in with today's conversation,
nice.
You can find me at aftermoviediner.com. And anywhere where After Movie Diner is found on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just type it in and I'm there. Twitter at After Movie Diner, Facebook.com/After Movie Diner, etc.
Okay, I'm going to follow you now. Now that we have you at the end of the call, what's the movie? Best kept secret.
The best kept secret of 17. I don't know. Honestly, Carmen, we have to discuss this online because I don't want to hold up your
you know
call
what? That is a bet. I will absolutely get in contact with you. We will discuss it further.
Well, I'm so sorry I didn't have some zinger at the end of the show.
No, it's totally cool. That's me.
Right,
that's
guys.
me throwing a curveball.
wow.
Thank
you, John.
Thank you so much for being here.
All the best, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. We are trying to make the call to our featured caller. We just had
some technical difficulty.
We're working it out. But in the meantime, let's start a fight.
You know what? I think that I really did enjoy talking to John, and he made some really valid points.
Yeah, but Pam, you're forgetting about Pam, our first caller.
So I really enjoyed talking to John, and he made some valid points about, how people get too offended too easily, and that it's a tightrope walk between one extreme being censorship and the other extreme
being
anything
the way
goes.
That it has been made.
By who? By who and by how?
I didn't want to say liberals.
We are a society of people, and we decide if we allow others to, color what it is that our perceptions are. And I know that everybody always goes, quote unquote, the media, whatever, what have you. But turn it off. If it's not saying the kinds of things that you believe in, if it's not representing your interests, turn it crap off. The thing about it is moderation in terms of how we treat each other and respectfulness has not gone out of style. Okay.
If you come in here and say, Darryl, you brought this up and I would rather you not talk about that. Mm-hmm. And you said this, and I would rather you not say it like this. And if you do this after 3 times, 5 times, I'm going to get to a point where I'm saying, okay, I can't really say anything around Carmen. She's too sensitive. That's
what's going to happen is I'm going to cuss you out the second time, and then you ain't going to say nothing again.
So I'm afraid now. So what has happened is we've come to a part where it's like I can't say anything, and then you're going to force me again in the closet.
Here's the big deal, though. What does your fear have to do with me?
Because we have to work together.
If we have to work together, why can't you couch things in a respectful way?
because if
And
I don't like you,
like I would.
if I don't like you
I would.
eating
If I'm showing you
cottage
respect.
cheese at lunchtime in the office, I feel I can't say I don't want HR in here. We have.
Are you serious? Is that what we're really doing right
we
now?
We can't say anything.
That's total bull. Because see, here's my thing: you say whatever you want, but you are not allowed. You're not immune from the consequences of what you say.
Now I'm going to go
You
here.
can say that's free speech. Everybody's got free speech, but your free speech comes with consequences. If your free speech is harmful to others, you can speak without being harmful, can't you?
Hello.
Hey,
Yes.
Mark. Okay, we're back on. Thank you. We had some the misunderstanding for calling and everything, and we made an international call, and I'm so happy. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah, we've had a couple of international callers here lately on the show, and we're happy to have you here. Can you tell everyone who you are and what you're about?
Well, thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be invited on. My name's Mark Collet. I'm British, which people have probably picked up by my accent. I'm the author of a book called The Fall of Western Man, and I've been a political activist for the last 17 years. I was active in the recent Brexit campaign, and I campaigned for the Leave, where the British people voted to leave the EU, and that's something I've campaigned for my entire political life. That was a major realization of one of my goals. So I do a number of podcasts, which I upload on my own YouTube channel, and I also take part in a bi-weekly show called This Week on the Alt-Right, and I do that with my co-host Tara McCarthy, and that's something that people can tune into on Wednesdays and Fridays on YouTube.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're dealing with a bit of a time difference. What time is it where you are?
I think it's just gone past 10 p.m.
Okay, perfect.
Wow.
Okay. So we're talking about political correctness and whether it's good or bad or for better or for worse. I know that in terms of your political bent and the activism that you've been involved in, this has been something that you've addressed quite extensively and with a fair amount of controversy. But can you tell people what you think of political correctness, what it means to you, and where you stand?
Well, I think political correctness is fundamentally a bad thing. It's a way of infringing people's freedom of speech, people's freedom of association, and it makes people moderate their language in a very negative way. I'm all about politeness and manners, and I certainly don't believe people should go around being impolite to people or have bad manners or try to go out of their way to necessarily upset people. However, when you get to the point where people feel they can't even espouse reasonable views for fear of somebody getting offended, you end up living in something that is more akin to what liberals or left-wing activists call a safe space, where everyone is so terribly scared of offending anyone or saying the wrong thing that no one can really say anything at all. And somebody said to me quite a long time ago when I began my career as a political activist that it was far more important to have the right to offend somebody than it was to have the right not to be offended. Because once one person has the right not to be offended, everyone has the right not to be offended, which really means that no one has the right to say anything, because logically anything can be found offensive by someone. So really, the mark of a free society and one where people hold the values of free speech and free thought is one where people have the right to challenge each other, where people have the right to say things that someone will find offensive, where people have the right to push boundaries and people have the right to espouse their opinions. And I believe that political correctness is a way of gagging people. It's a way of shutting down debate.
And I agree with you, Mark, because of the fact that I want you to be real with me, okay? When we're having a conversation, that's the only way we're going to learn each other. That's how we're going to learn from each other, and that's the only way we're going to grow. If you're sugarcoating your words and I'm sugarcoating my words, we're really not going to get to.
Let me ask you this.
What's really going on?
Let me ask you this, and I'm wanting to understand what you're saying in terms of people not having the right not to be offended. So are you saying that there shouldn't be consequences for the things you say?
I do think certain things there should be consequences for. For example, I don't believe people should be able to incite violence or murder. If somebody's standing in the street saying, we should go and murder these people, then obviously there should be consequences to those actions. And there are clearly laws in place to stop incitement. But if somebody has an unpopular opinion or a viewpoint that ruffles feathers, and it is a legitimate viewpoint, it's not incitement, it's just their view, I don't think that should be restricted. I think people should have the right to say that. And ultimately, if people are so grossly offended by a viewpoint, then maybe those people should toughen up. I mean, I was a young lad some 30 years ago, and I remember my teacher saying, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words can never hurt me." And that was quite a good little motto, really, because it was saying to children, go out there and
right.
toughen up.
I get that. But you do understand that words carry weight. Words turn into laws. Words turn into things that either harm or help people. So when we're talking about blanket immunity in terms of being able to insult or be harmful, for example, with, let's say, racism that the U.S. is dealing with, actually really confronting what it looks like and what it is. Do you think that there's a place for there to be a more civil type of conversation? I mean, I think that you can be, you can disagree and you can have a legitimate viewpoint without having to say something that is insulting.
Well, I think that when we're basically forced to be silent or watch our words.
Who is forcing you to be silent? Who's forcing you to be silent? I'm just saying in terms of words, the words that carry weight. You know exactly what it is that would be, damaging to someone. Why go out of your way to damage? Why not be respectful enough to say how you feel in a respectful way?
Is there a respectful way for me to say that I do not like what you're doing?
You just said it.
Well,
go on, Mark.
From my point of view, I personally try to always be polite, but that's my choice.
Right.
That's my choice. And it's other people's choices. If they choose not to be polite. And where I sort of start drawing the line here is we're talking about hurt feelings and hurt emotions, and that's not really quantifiable. Now, obviously, if somebody comes and scratches your car, or if somebody comes and punches you on the end of the nose, that's quantifiable. There's actual quantifiable damage. Whereas when people start talking about things such as hurt emotions or hurt feelings, that really isn't quantifiable. And as such, I can't really legislate for that. And then you start going down the line of, well, what is offensive? Now, obviously, you raised the issue of race.
Right.
But let me talk about this. In the UK, there is quite stringent laws on religious hatred.
Okay.
Now, these laws on religious hatred would, say, prevent someone criticizing Islam or making a mockery of the Prophet Muhammad or Allah. Whereas if you were to openly mock Christianity, nothing would be done. If you were to, in fact, there were TV shows that openly mock Christ, they openly mock Christians, they really,
So there's no,
Christianity.
what you're saying is there's no protection for, it's not a blanket protection, it's just a specific religion, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I agree with that.
I
agree with that. If we can't mock one, we shouldn't be able to mock the other. I do agree with that. And as a matter of fact,
I think everything should be mocked.
But that's what we were talking about earlier, as far as like we've lost our sense of humor in terms of there's always with the humor, there's always going to be someone who's the butt of the joke or something that's the butt of the joke. And that person, of course, has the right to be offended, but it shouldn't stop us from being able to make light of situations. Does that make sense?
No, I can see where you're coming from, but once you start restricting one thing, it very soon becomes a slippery slope to restricting far more. For example, in the UK, this is just an example. When I was a child, we had a nursery rhyme called Bar Bar Black Sheep, and it was Bar Bar Black.
Oh, we have that.
Yeah, and now that's banned from being sung in schools.
Why?
Now,
because the sheep's black?
It's apparently offensive because it singles out the black sheep. And the irony of that is people sang Bar Bar Black Sheep because black sheep were actually seen as more profitable than the white,
they're rare.
Because the wool didn't need to be dyed. And the irony is, you're banning it as if it's a bad thing. Well, actually, everyone wanted the black sheep because the black sheep had more valuable wool. And that's the ludicrousness of political correctness.
Right.
I think that we go to extremes.
Every aspect of our lives.
I think that we go to extremes. There is the extreme that censors everything, and then there's the extreme that anything goes. I think that a fair and decent society lives somewhere in the middle.
Now I'm gonna go on, Mark, because I really want to get into what you and I are fully in agreement on, and that's Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay, so you know what? There was an agenda here. He wanted you here to talk about your activism, but what he really wanted was to talk about Spider-Man.
I was just gonna say, a good and decent society shouldn't need laws to police people's speech. You see, I can sit with anyone, and as a good person who's been brought up the right way, I would not use words that were going to make somebody that I was sat around a dinner table with feel uncomfortable on purpose. I wouldn't use crude language. I wouldn't use curse words. And really, if you live in a good and decent society, which is a high-trust society and one where people respect each other, you don't need these laws. I believe these laws are creating a nanny state, a big government, which is bordering on Big Brother, which wants to police people's speech. And that is taking us down a very dark road, where ultimately people are now becoming scared of saying what they think for fear of losing their jobs.
I agree.
Let me ask you this,
100%.
No, okay. Yeah,
because I am in fear of losing my job. I just had a conversation with a person at work. I was like, they were talking. I said, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm not going to be involved in this conversation. Because tomorrow my badge isn't going to work because
see there. You know what? Okay, but let me ask this, and I have a legitimate question based on what you said. Who decides what a good and decent society is, and in terms of what the trust level is? How is it that people learn? Just like you said, to be in polite company and not be, vicious or venomous or, without manners or respectfulness. When you're looking at...
Well,
go ahead.
No, sorry, I cut in there. Sorry, carry on.
No, I what I'm saying is, it's good to have that level of trust, and it would be okay if everyone was taught and learned the same kinds of values, but everyone doesn't. And we are all different in our experiences.
Well, I would answer that quite simply in saying that we have built now in the Western world, we have built this multicultural society, and we have all these different types of people who aren't necessarily compatible with one another,
right,
who have been forced together into very small spaces, and often their cultures and traditions, they're not just different, but they're different to the point of not being compatible. And because of that, we create a society where you have these tensions, whereas if people lived around other people they were compatible with, if you lived in homogeneous society where people were alike, they acted alike, they thought alike, and they had common cultures and heritage and traditions, things would move a lot more smoothly. And I can give you a small example of this in the UK, where you have large Muslim populations who are openly antagonistic against the indigenous people for dressing a certain way in summer. And you have these problems now which weren't present when we had a more homogenous society.
So you think that society should be more insular and that people should only be with the kinds of people that they are? Is that what you're saying?
I believe that the world is a wonderful place, and I believe it's big enough for everyone. And I believe we can travel. I believe we can learn from each other. We can trade and we can cooperate. But when you push people together who are different, have different ways of thinking, different ways of life, they often don't live together in a confined space in a harmonious manner. And I believe that homogeneous societies where people do have shared values work much better together than societies that aren't homogeneous.
Now, based on that, and because of time restraints, you made some very valid points, Carmen and Mark. Now, I'm going to talk briefly on how I actually discovered Mark, because of the fact that talking about political correctness and the forced diversity, good and bad. Now, I took my children to see Spider-Man. I'm a nerd, Carmen's a nerd, all that. And I'm watching Spider-Man and I'm like, okay. Then something else happened and I'm like, okay. And it was extremely politically correct.
I'm being politically correct.
I almost, I couldn't eat my popcorn. Do you know how upset a person is that they cannot eat popcorn in a theater?
Oh my God!
Spider-Man.
What stopped you from eating their popcorn?
I've told you before, Carmen, that they are pushing this interracial thing.
Well, you know what? That's not even okay.
Spider-Man, the girl that he's in a relationship with is just say black. Then the girl that he's going to end up having a relationship in the future, she's black. Mary Jane
You don't
is black.
like black girls?
I get it, Carmen.
Okay,
but
you don't
I'm
like
saying,
black girls, though. Is that what you're saying?
His friend, who was a big jock, now he's Indian. Mark, can you just give me your opinion on this? I get it. I get it, Carmen. I see that it's supposed to be a good thing, but Spider-Man Homecoming was an overload.
You know what? Okay, so you're dealing with the aspect of diversity in terms of casting. Were they good actors or were they shitty actors? Deal with that. Okay? Deal with that. Okay? Because here's the thing. Tobey Maguire didn't have chemistry with his Mary Jane either. Okay?
You don't think Tobey Maguire had chemistry with Mary Jane? I thought there was... I genuinely... If you took out the political correctness from Spider-Man Homecoming, I thought it was an awful film anyway.
Exactly. So don't put
it added anything
I
new.
don't put that on diversity. I put that on crappy acting and a crappy script.
Oh, Spider-Man as a whole was not a bad movie. Spider-Man Homecoming was not bad.
Here we go. No, you couldn't.
It was not bad.
But you
I didn't like the film. I didn't like the film anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm saying as far as like the special effects.
Do you know what, Mark?
Awesome.
Do you know
what? Special effects.
No, you know what, Mark? Okay, so you did the whole homogenous society comment and everything. He thought he was going to have a buddy in terms of somebody just crapping all over the diversity in Spider-Man. That's what he thought he was going to have. That's exactly what he thought.
But I didn't like the film.
It was a shitty script, right?
All aspects.
It was a horrible movie.
All aspects.
It was a horrible movie.
I thought it was a horrible film with horrible diversity, and I thought from the point of view of somebody who really likes film, I thought they sort of redid everything in the wrong way. And if you take out the racial aspect, even the sort of political correctness and nonsense where Aunt May's no a kindly old lady who bakes cookies for all the kids on the block.
Aunt May is
now some milk
vixen.
for all of his young friends.
She's a MILF. It's stupid.
Everything was bad. You know, when they visited the Washington Monument, the teacher, he's so weak and he's effeminate, and his students are telling him what he should and shouldn't think. Everything about it was sort of politically correct, metrosexual, modern, and
even the villain was in an interracial relationship.
Okay,
it
you know
was
what?
interracial
Do you know
all
what?
over the place.
Do you know what?
And I get it. I'm
oh
cool
my God.
with it. I'm cool.
No, you
Stranger
can't.
Things had an
You
interracial, and I
can't
was
be.
fine with that.
No,
but 10
this
things.
is something totally different. And I'm going to, Mark, it's everything political correct in me to not deal with that comment earlier in terms of homogenous society, because I wholeheartedly disagree. And I'm putting that out there. But at the same time, okay, when you're dealing with, talking about the levels of diversity and things like that, good actors and good scripts and good movies are just good, regardless of who, what, when, where, why, and how is in them.
I love film. I agree with that.
So when we're talking about Spider-Man, this is a crappy movie altogether. Okay?
But there is an interesting point that's worth raising here. A number of the characters in the new Spider-Man film were originally white characters. And
which was fine. I don't think it needed a redo. I really don't.
No, but there is an important point under all this. Some of the characters, like the jock at school, he went from being like a big sort of like blonde-haired guy to being like a weedy Indian guy. They changed MJ from a redhead to a black girl. Now, all I would say about this is there was no real outcry about the multiculturalizing of Spider-Man. Yet, in the casting of the new Hellboy film, they changed one character from being, I believe it was Asian, to being white. They cast a white actor.
I saw that.
And the outcry over that.
Well, can I couch that by saying that in general, there are very few roles for Asians. And I can understand that outcry, because if you take a pool that's very small to begin with and you shrink that pool even further because you fill it with someone, who already has the lion's share of roles, that's not fair.
I know what you're saying.
That's where we deal with a fine line in terms of the minority aspect and the majority aspect and what diversity really looks like. Now, what people don't understand is so long people have been fighting for equality when equity is the real measure of what makes a society work. It's not about equality, because you can give everybody the same freaking thing and they won't make the same kind of life out of it. But if what you do is move their starting point so that the fairness is there, it's up to them.
I agree with you what you're saying, but don't you think, with all honesty, Carmen, don't you think it's an overload? It's an overload, and there is an agenda that is being pushed.
I get the agenda aspect, but I don't think it's an overload.
Black woman with a white man.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you. No. Stop right where you are. And I'm going to calm down and tell you this. Do you think it doesn't happen in society?
I know it happened, but it's not everybody. It's like a black person with a black person or a white person with a white person doesn't exist anymore.
Let me ask you this.
That's not fashionable.
But let me ask you this. With exposure to other cultures and other people, can't people just be attracted to one another?
I know 5 interracial couples. Okay.
Now, Mark, you don't know a lot of people.
Well, Mark, listen, we got to get out of the studio. I sincerely appreciate your time, your input,
Thank you so
opinion.
much. Tell
people
so
how
much.
they can get in contact with you.
Thank you for inviting me on. It's been a real pleasure.
I'm sorry. We get heated about our comics, so
Right.
No, you've both been lovely, and you're a really interesting host. It's been a great show, and thank you for inviting me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Tell people one more time how they can get in contact with you.
You can follow me on Twitter. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at Mark Collet. Or you can download my book for free from www.thefallofwesternman.com. And that's a free ebook, or you can buy it in hardback or paperback.
Thank you so much for being on. You know what? We appreciate you. We hope to have you on again. We will do more shows about this topic. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right.
You know what? We're long.
I know we are, but this is a good
was
topic.
great.
It's meaty. It's really a meaty topic. So
It was
I know
great.
this is a part of the show where you're supposed to apologize, and you need to apologize.
I'm going to
for me.
apologize really quick. No, you know what? This was great. It was great. It was great. You know what? When we had a discussion about this show, I'm going to tell you the power of looks, okay? And I'm going to apologize about looks and certain things. Because I told you when certain things happen, I'm going to give you a look, okay?
Oh, Lord. Here
Okay.
we go.
I want to apologize to the people on 23 North because when I drive the speed limit, 10 and 2, okay?
Pawpaw drives the speed
If
limit.
you're behind me, you tailgate me, I'm going to give you one of these, okay?
Is that what you do?
Hey,
You just throw it up, hey.
I'm going to give you one of these. And then when you pull around,
You don't give
I'm
them
going to
these
give
right
you one of
here?
these. No
You don't give them
fingers.
these?
I'm going to give you the look.
That look doesn't work.
That doesn't work?
No, you look like you smelled something.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they laugh. And then when you get in front of me, I'm going to give you the brights. I see you. You're speeding. You're breaking the law.
And then they're going to give you the finger so you can see them in the brights.
But I will say this. Don't do that in Detroit.
Yeah,
And
that's not sweet.
yeah, that
You
doesn't.
can get shot like that.
Right. So I want to apologize for the people that I've given the dirty, smug look to.
I don't think that they are that mad because you just look like you farted in your car.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we do have an Erica Fitness minute that we will insert later. So now we'll have a 2-hour show. Eric,
But please tune in.
Yeah, her segment is sponsored by Giovanna Boudreau, Fit Thick Girls.
Hey,
So who is pregnant.
I know I saw that she's pregnant.
And Giovanna's my girl. And for personal reasons,
Congratulations.
I liked her pregncy. I liked her. I
her
liked it. I didn't love
husband.
it.
You know that's an interracial couple.
It's an interracial couple. So listen, I liked her post. I didn't love it.
I loved it.
I liked it.
I did.
So
Javon. Congratulations.
Okay.
boo.
Yep. So awesome.
What you got going on this week?
I don't have anything going on, Carmen. I live through you.
Okay, so tomorrow I'm in the Battle of the Bands at Hollywood Casino with the Overton Project. Come see the Overton Project featuring your girl Carmen Miller, and shout us out tomorrow at Hollywood Casino Toledo.
Oh, you know what? How was the Halloween thing you did?
Oh, Game of Thrones Halloween went off so lovely. Let me tell you, we had the Lannisters in the house. We had Jon Snow. We even had Nymeria, the dire wolf. It was off the hook.
Did you have something up to the neck?
No, I
And-
was
and down to the knee?
Sansa Stark, my lord.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's get ready to get out of here. But you want to do the outro?
Absolutely. Want to thank everybody for helping us to achieve over 700 likes on our Facebook page and almost 190 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Come on in. We getting monetized, baby. So thank you to everyone for sharing with your family and friends. Also, please subscribe to us on iTunes. If you give us a 4.0 or 5.0 or better, we will shout you out on the show. Always visit us at www.fullcirclepodcastshow.com, and all our information is there, including ordering my music and Darryl's latest book. You can email us at fullcirclepodcastshow@gmail.com for questions, comments, or if you want to be a guest or even a sponsor of an episode. So check us out on iTunes and Stitcher and podcastjuice.net. And as always, you have an opinion, use it.
Use it. Don't forget our sponsors, Three Kings Clothing. Have a good night, everybody. Crime. Let's get it together. Education. Let's get it together. Marriage. Let's get it together. Politics. Let's get it together. Full circle. Poverty. Let's get it together. Race. Let's get it together. Full circle.